Hi.
Oh, what's happening? It looks like it's
How the
just two
hell
of
is
us
it
right
going?
now, but it's actually three of us.
It's actually three. It's actually three. See, and that's the shit that I hate though, because like I said, we don't have the intro like normal, so it gives you like 50 seconds to kind of just jump right. You know what I'm saying? 50 seconds to get your bearings about yourself, whatever the case may
Yeah.
be. But it just yeah, that's the sucky part about the shit. Like no beat, no extra shit, no none of that. Just
None. None.
yeah,
Straight to it.
yeah, just straight to that bullshit. But what's going on, Simon?
Nothing much. I got a little whiskey in my hand, trying to get
Oh,
this shit going.
oh, so you drinking whiskey tonight, huh?
Yeah, just a little bit, man. Trying to, you know, loosen up the gears here.
Hey, yeah, shit. I went back and got some of that goddamn gin. I don't know why I've been on
Yeah,
that gin kick lately, dog.
yeah. I mean, you got me on it a little bit
Yeah, yeah.
the other
'Cause
day,
that shit the
but
other day, you like,
yeah, because I mean, it was alcohol, and I am a drunk, so I was drinking it.
right? Well, shit. I think mainly because like then mixed it with that ginger ale and shit. Nigga can barely
Yeah,
even
it
taste
didn't
that
have.
motherfucker.
Yeah, it wasn't as harsh. I've never had like, not saying I like gotten pissed drunk off of gin, but I just never liked it like that. It was never
Hmm.
one of those ones like, yeah, I gotta get that shit again.
Right,
Even
right.
when even when Snoop was talking about gin and juice, I didn't like them shits.
Well, because first of all, you were a kid. Let's start there.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that played a part.
yeah, that played a pretty big one. Jeez. But yeah, so that shit, I've been on that shit again. I don't know why, but it kind of just is what it is at this point. Shit.
Yeah, man. But outside of that, man, I mean, a lot of shit's happening in the world right now. Is a
Yeah.
revolution happening? And then is it televised?
I don't know the answer to that question just yet. Um, I don't know. I don't know the answer to that question. I think it is, but I'm also not 100% certain either. You know what I
So
mean?
you're a cynical motherfucker.
Well, I'm not even gonna say all the way cynical. I'm just gonna say like it's just I don't think it's going the way that like everybody kind of thought it would go. You know what I mean? And so
Yeah.
it kind of number one, it came by surprise, right? Because this isn't the first time that we've been in a situation where you got black folks dying off of police brutality and shit like that. Not the first time that shit has happened, right? So it was kind of like it kind of in the beginning kind of had this same like okay, here we go again with this shit. Here we go again.
Yeah.
Everybody's gonna do what they're gonna do, and then keep it moving from there, and it's all gonna go away in a week. But it kind of all not immediately, but after like a day or two, this shit kind of hit a different level. It kind of hit a different level, and I think what ended up actually happening and why it hit a different level was because white people were finally like the average white man was finally like damn, really? Like again, we see this shit again, and so
Yeah.
that kind of gave it a little bit more legs than normal.
Yeah. Yes and no. It was one of those. I think to me, it was the nonchalantness of
Mm,
how the dude did the whole shit. It was one of those things like, damn, this nigga really just did not give a fuck. He just,
right,
yeah, and you're filming me, and I don't give a shit. He
right,
just was
right.
there. He had his hand, it was the hands in the pocket and all that bullshit. It was like, no, this nigga really don't give a fuck.
He really don't give a shit. He really don't give a shit at all. And like I said, it got some staying power at this point. I do believe that there has been a lot of changes that have been made, and I think again, just overall with most people just finally whether like number one, I hate fake outrage, right? That always
Mm-hmm.
throws me off, right? When if you're
Mm-hmm.
upset, then you're upset. If you're not upset, then it's okay. Don't be upset, but don't give fake outrage, right? So
Yeah.
and I hate to say it, but I guess some of it is fake outrage, but a lot of it is just like, God damn, we got to go through this shit one more time, yet
Again.
again. You know what I'm saying? And then that's not even that was just a highlight of everything. You got the Breonna Taylors of the world, you got the Aubrey guy, you got him, you got George Floyd. So it's just like wait. All this shit
And
is happening.
and we're under quarantine, so that everybody's agitated as is because everybody's stuck in the house.
Yeah, exactly.
Because Jamile looked real stuck in the house. That nigga, did you
He
pick
ain't
that shit?
did.
You should have had
Nah.
at least.
If I pick this would be the only thing in the frame.
You should at least have to pick with the fist on it.
Yeah, man.
At least that one, right?
You can see how well my barber's doing right now.
Yeah.
Not very.
Have you at least called him and asked him how his family was doing since you're fucking up his money?
Hey, man, look, I told him I'd be back when I'm back. You know, whatever that happens. I'll go back when LP goes back.
Fuck you. Let's just start right there. Let's just start on that one. But yeah, like I said, we were just talking about the whole situation as a whole. Again, is the revolution televised at this point? Is the revolution finally here?
I don't know. We'll see. But
yeah, we're all cynical right now.
You know,
right.
Well, because we've just seen it so many times, right? I mean, you wonder, like, and you know how this society works. Like, we move on quick from stuff.
Right.
Like something that seems like a huge deal 1 week, you won't hear anything about it a couple weeks later. But
right. This is true.
Here's an interesting take I have on this though, and it's more of a question. And stick with me, people. I know.
Okay.
Stick with me.
Shit! I told you what I said. I said this. He was ready. He was ready.
But so I was thinking the other night. I was like, well, I wonder if this was made like. Okay, so remember when Obama was president and we had a lot of these happen? We had Trayvon Martin, Tamir Rice, Eric Gardner, all those guys. So when it would happen under him, everybody would get in an uproar. There'd be protests and not as much rioting, but there would be some rioting, but mostly just protests, whatever.
Right.
A lot of black people would be angry, and then Daddy Obama would come out and he would swaddle us in his words, and he would make us feel better.
Because he's such a good wordsmith.
He's that can't be denied. And whatever you think about him, that can't be denied. So he would come out and he would calm everything down. You hear people on news like, "Oh, he really brought the country together today." But I always wondered. I wonder if you almost are better off from in this particular topic, in this particular issue, I guess. If you're almost better off having somebody like Trump in there because he's so divisive, like he's gonna find that little wedge and try to, divide and try to open that wedge up and divide everybody. Right. And when he does that, it has the effect of making it like like you're either with us or against us type of mentality to it, right? Because he's so outrageous on the one end. Like nobody wants to. Well, I shouldn't say nobody. A lot of people don't want to be associated necessarily with like, oh, I'm not that. I'm like, that's not what I meant. Right. On the Trump side of it, but I guess what I'm trying to say is he may have pushed some people into our laps who normally would have just been like, who might have just stayed out of it. And I think also him being such an asshole about it, like he is about everything, may have energized black people to have made this a bigger issue for longer than they would have with Obama. Because by now, Obama would have came out with it one of his political freestyles, and we'd have been like, ooh, I never heard that King quote. Where you got that one from? He would have done that song and dance, and we may have calmed down about it, right? And thought that maybe he'll do something, right? With Trump, he's not about to do anything except make it worse, right? To the extent that he can, and people who may have sided on that, law and order side of things. Well, when Trump is the one saying law and order, some people don't necessarily want to be associated with that same message.
Well, it kind of exposed a lot more so, right? Because again, with him being so divisive, like you said, it's in the beginning when he first started this shit, it started kind of dividing people up, right? You got, okay, you're either on this side or you're on that side. But the more that these kind of circumstances go on, the more people are starting to become more exposed to it, right? And then, like I was telling Simon before you got on, or telling everybody before you got on, it's I think now the average, even if somebody wanted to stay out of it, the average white person is like God damn. Okay, again, we just got through this pandemic, or we're still going through this pandemic.
Still, yeah, this pandemic ain't over.
Yeah, y'all still can't figure out, like, you can't do this kind of shit. And you know, so a lot that's where you get a lot of duress from, a lot of just people, you know, and you know, black people are always going to be upset about this shit. But you know, that's why you have a lot of outsiders, you know, your fucking people in England. And England is one of the most racist countries in the fucking world, but it was still good to see people over there you know, protesting and shit like that. New Zealand, like all these places, you know, they have high racist shit too. They just don't go out and blatantly kill a motherfucker and be like, oh no, it's not good.
Well, one of the funny things, I saw a protest I don't know, at some point last week in New Zealand. Right, it was a Black Lives Matter protest. Of course, there isn't no black people there, but
right,
they're protesting. Which, okay, appreciate the gesture. But
yeah, of course.
I was thinking like if you're the Aborigines from New Zealand, whose land this used to be, aren't you thinking like the first thing I thought of was that because the crowd was literally chanting Black Lives Matter, Black Lives Matter, and I was thinking there's got to be Aboriginal people there who are like that Snoop meme. Who?
Yeah.
Like what about these like brownish lives? Like what about these?
Yeah.
So I thought that was kind of ironic.
Of course, of course.
I think this whole situation is ironic because it's kind of one of those things. Now, I like, you know, with America, it's like everybody kind of like, how'd y'all get Trump in here and this, that, and the other, this, that, and the third, and then it's all of a sudden you're like, what are y'all gonna do about it? And da 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 da. And now it's like this was bubbling at the simmering at the top the whole time. It was almost like a perfect storm of shit with the quarantine and this happening, Aubrey happening earlier, the Breonna Taylor shit happening. It's like this is how I would say most people were feeling. What is that? You drinking cupcake?
Drinking cupcake wine.
Cupcake. That Moscato, ain't your stomach gonna hurt?
I don't know. I don't know nothing about wine. My wife's pregnant, so I gotta drink all the shit.
So yeah, I felt like it was almost like a powder keg of a bunch of stuff, like it snowballed, and it just it happened. Like we were waiting for this. We knew tensions were high. We just didn't know like all this was gonna coalesce at one time, and this shit happens.
Right, and everything did just jump off all at one time, and you know, and it kind of goes like, I think we even talked about it beforehand too. It kind of goes back, you know, like you have your doomsday preppers, your zombie preppers, or all these other preppers, right? And it was just the lid was already boiling over, so it was just only a matter of time before a lot of shit happened, right? Because again, you have pandemic, you got COVID, people worrying about that, you got people losing their jobs, you got people. You know, hell, again, you know, the school system is just all fucked up now, you know. So you got all this shit going on, and then you on top of that, you got this shit now. And so it was just a matter of time. And honestly, I don't even think if Obama was even in office, he could have calmed motherfuckers down it just in that situation, because it was just everything just happened all at fucking once. You know what I'm saying? And it started with Kobe dying, but that's a different story.
I mean, that did kind of set the tone for the year.
Yeah, Kobe fucked up the space-time continuum, man.
He did.
He fucked it up, man. Doc Brown told him, he was like, "Hey, man, look, you can't be, don't be fucking around when you go back in this thing."
Man,
and he fucked up the continuum.
But it's just, like I said, man, it's really just a perfect storm of stuff. So it was like with us, we've known this has been a problem since we were able to, I mean, probably about early teens. You know, we all kind of somebody had that talk with us, like, hey, when you get into a situation with police, I'm just saying, whenever you could like really understand it and you know, digest it. Like we had this conversation where, say, man, whenever you with the laws, man, you gotta don't make no sudden movements. Always kind of, you know, you almost have to be subservient to these motherfuckers because they look at you and they scared.
Right. And they know they know, you know, since they think they know that since they the police, they can just actually fuck with you. And you know, again, and you know, y'all call me whatever modern day Republican. I don't really give a shit, but like that's why, you know, again, I'm gonna preach taking certain steps to make sure that, you know, I understand my rights, my kid understands his rights, my nieces and nephews understand their rights. Like anybody I can make sure that they understand what their rights are, because again, you know,
I have my rights.
That situation can fall on anybody at any time. And it's not like, you know, a general group of shit, right? Hell, I'm 6'1", 260, 255, 260. I know damn hell well if a police roll up on me and this motherfucker 5'10", 180, so he may be swole. I'm a big motherfucker to him. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, damn it, he may feel some type of intimidation. I mean, it just is what it is, right? If I roll up on somebody,
I know when I walk up to a lot of them niggas look at me as a threat. So
yeah, exactly.
What you're saying on that one.
Now, if the law was 6'5", you know, 265, he ain't either, man. Get your little ass off. You know what I'm saying? Like, I mean, okay, and maybe me at that point, I'm like, say, man, if you don't get your big ass on somewhere, I'm gonna beat your ass. You know what I'm saying? but nevertheless, like, you know, yeah, you have to have those talks. And you know, and just the sad part about it is, right, you know, my son just turned 12, and you know, he had these conversations I had to have these conversations a long time ago with him, and some shit that number one, we shouldn't have to do as a society. We shouldn't have to, you know, take time out of a kid's innocence to have to explain this shit to them, right? To have to explain the shit that they're seeing on TV, have to explain the shit they're seeing on the internet, explain the shit that they're hearing. Like, it's just some shit you should not have to. You should have to do at a certain age.
And we constantly have to ask, have that discussion. That's the thing about it. It doesn't stop with us. Like, I don't think this is probably the first time in a long time that this is why I think this one's hitting a little different. That white families had to sit down and have a conversation like, Daddy or Mommy, why did that police treat him like that?
Yeah,
said, we've had these conversations.
Yeah, everybody at the house.
Now you gotta have this uncomfortable conversation. Like, nigga, we live in the uncomfortable conversation.
Right, exactly. And that's the shit. People, everybody's having that conversation, and you know, the people with all lives matter. No one's saying that it don't. But to quote several people who have said it, I'm quoting Randy Orton just because he's a wrestler. Shout out to the WWE. All lives can't matter if black lives don't matter. You know what I mean? So, and that's just a real life thing. Like, people don't say that. People don't say that to cause division. It's like, God damn, I am a fucking human being too. Because the reverse of that is this: if that motherfucker go out and start busting up on, like, the Laos came over here and they tried to do something to him, or whoever the fuck, and all of a sudden he killed a couple of Laos, he's the worst person on the planet. You know what I'm saying?
Man, throw him under the jail. That means
He's the worst person on the planet. But
people are like, he don't even deserve a trial. Throw him under the jail.
Yeah, no, he's not getting a trial. You can hang that one up. You kill some laws, you ain't getting no trial.
I mean, I think that's the main issue, though, right? The main issue is that there's no accountability, right? Like, people say, like, and it's the dumbest argument of, what about black on black crime? I'm like, well, first of all,
that's
white people kill mostly white people. Like if you
that's
look
a
at
made up stat.
Yeah, and it's like if you look at white people, most white people are killed by white people, and it's not because there's any white on white crime situation. It's because that's mostly who they know.
That's who you're around. That's who you're
around. And so, to the extent that anybody's going to get killed, the odds are, if you're white, you're going to kill a white person. That's just the odds. You know, if you just do it by percentages, and it's the same for every group. Like, I haven't looked this up for, like, Vietnamese, but, like, you know.
Do they kill each other? I don't think they kill each other.
They just make money silently. That's all they do. But
they move like water. They move like water.
Yes, be like water, my friend.
Like water. Like water.
But my point is, in those cases, if you are a black person and you kill another black person, odds are you're going to jail, right? I mean, if they can find you and they know who you are or whatever, you're probably going to jail. And there's not going to be any protection for you. Nobody's going to, like, cover for you and be like, well, no, this guy. No. With the cops, though, they can do what they want. and automatically they have protection. They have it. First of all, if it's not on video or there's not some evidence, they're just going to take the cop's word for it, whether they know what he did or not. If they know he did wrong, they're going to try to sweep it under the rug.
Right.
And we've seen a million times. Like there was one that came out maybe Monday, I think, and they were talking about, it was a guy he was a store owner and he was getting robbed. So he pulls a gun on the robber, right? And he's holding the guy at gunpoint, calls 911. But of course, he doesn't want to let the guy go, so he's holding him at gunpoint to keep him in the store till the police get there. Police get there. Of course, he knows, what we know. So he takes the clip out of the gun, takes the bullet out of the chamber, cocks the gun back so you can see it's not, ready to fire. And he's holding the clip in his hand to kind of show, like, yes, I have this gun, but it's not loaded. And he's yelling at them. Yes, there you go.
Just like that.
Yeah.
And he's yelling at them saying, hey, I got the guy, basically telling them to come get him. The police, without ever listening to him and what he's yelling at the top of his fucking voice, come in, punch him immediately, jump on him, break his jaw, knock a bunch of his teeth out. Now, we didn't find out about this immediately.
Of course not.
Right? And we probably, if it were a different climate, probably would have never found out about it, right? Now, luckily, he didn't get killed. He survived. He's going to sue. And I'm hoping he gets paid, but it's those types of things that police, when you allow people to do something and just there's no consequences if I do the wrong thing by this person. Like think about it this way: if you knew that you were immune, like you're not going to jail, there's not going to be any real repercussions that come along with it. Think about how many people you would punch.
Everybody.
Man.
Like think about how many people you would punch. Think about like it would be you would live the life of Grand Theft Auto in real life. You just go somebody will piss you off and you'd be like, man, fuck you, and just whip his ass and move on. Right? But
shit, while you bullshitting. Right when I was at the store. When I was at the store, shit, I was about to tip over one of them fucking handicapped people driving in them little cars. Motherfucker almost ran over my foot.
That was what I was thinking of.
Man, if I was allowed, I would have flipped that bitch over. Man.
That was not what I was thinking of, but okay.
Yeah,
but no, it's the same point. Like, but if you did that, it would have been a whole thing. Police would have got called, and it's gonna be a situation. So you don't do it. Well, it's the same thing for police. You don't think if police knew if I fuck this guy up, treat him unfairly, I'm not only going to lose my job, but I potentially could go to jail. Like that's a big deterrent. And police,
right?
And this is what I always say about quote unquote good cops, right? I'm not disputing that there's good cops. What I'm saying is there are a lot of cops who themselves would not do some of the things we see, like they wouldn't have put their knee on George Floyd's neck.
Absolutely.
Maybe they don't go out of their way to fuck with people, like stop and frisk and all that kind of stuff.
Right.
Cops who don't believe in doing that stuff and won't themselves do it, but they do know that it does go on in their department, and they even know the dudes who are the worst offenders of it.
They just had drinks with them.
They just had drinks with him. They may have even told him he was fucked up to his face.
Right.
But they don't do anything. They don't report it. Anything like that. And you got to think about what a policeman is supposed to be. Right. You're supposed to be law enforcement
and order.
No, law enforcement. So
enforcement. Sorry.
So if you are the person who's supposed to enforce the laws, right? I sign a contract. I'm supposed to pay rent. I don't pay rent. Who comes? The sheriff, right? To evict you, right? You're supposed to be the person who enforces the law at the ground level, right? Well, if somebody on your force is doing something illegal, isn't it the policeman's job? Because if he sees Simon do something illegal with his own two eyes, he's going to enforce the law.
He's jamming me up.
He's going to enforce the law.
Me up.
Okay, well then the same thing. If Simon puts on a police uniform and is breaking the law, the same rules should apply there. Okay, somebody's breaking the law. It really doesn't matter that he's wearing my uniform. Right. I'm turning you in. Right. That's what it is.
That's how it should be. But what they try to equate it to, and I get it, it is a brotherhood, I guess, or a sister, whatever. It's I guess a knit family, whatever. But family members are fucked up too. Like, but that's how
family members snitch on each other growing up. Like, what the fuck?
Hell no. And I don't know for real shit.
No, I'm talking about on some shit that you see that you know is super fucked up. That you just like,
right.
no, one of those things. If everybody's going down, like, I'm like, man, you gotta say something.
Yeah, but at a certain point, like there's a different, like, first of all, this is not family, right? They may
Yeah.
I know they have a tight bond and all that.
And that's the point that I was trying to make. Like, no, it's not a family thing, right? Like, I would never do that shit to my own family, but at the same time, it's like, God damn, that was fucked up. But if somebody else do that shit, oh man, I'm finna hit me up. I'm finna, like, that's what they do. At the same time, they're the ones that are controlling people's lives, right? Like you got, like, and you have these, and this is a different topic, I guess, on the same thing, but you have police officers catching somebody with an ounce of weed in their fucking car, right? And they go send them off to jail with this ounce of weed and ruin the next 40 years of their fucking life just for a fucking ounce of weed. You know what I'm saying? Like, they're controlling people.
Part about it, they probably go smoke that ounce of weed and don't even turn that shit in.
No, they giving it to their cousin. They giving it to their brother and shit like that. When it started, I don't know. I guess it's always been like that in America. But the police is judge, jury, and executioner whenever they fucking want to be, and that's fucked up. They shouldn't have that shit. They shouldn't have that kind of power. They shouldn't have that kind of authority to do anything. Like you said too, they're supposed to enforce the law. Give me a speeding ticket, move the fuck along. You know what I'm saying? Well, you have a warrant in this area, motherfucker. That ain't got nothing to do with you. Give me my fucking ticket and keep it moving. I'm finna have a warrant in y'all area too because I ain't paying that bitch.
And that was one thing I was saying. Like, so the Democrats the other day released a bill or a proposed bill, and there's a bunch of stuff in it, but one of the main headline things was, outlawing chokeholds and stuff like that in policing. And I was like, that makes no sense. Like, all right, I'll just kill him another way. Like,
right.
Like, was Tamir Rice killed by a chokehold? No.
Yeah, no. Exactly.
Like, so
he rolled up on him right away and shot him.
So I knew they was gonna roll along and do some, try to, look at the symptoms of it rather than the systematic. First of all, we are some neighborhoods are proactively policed, right? Mm-hmm. And it's easy to see it. Like, you can if you live in a community like Dallas, which is a perfect example because there's so many different neighborhoods and so many different little cities, and you can very easily see the differences in how people are treated in different areas. Absolutely. You go to certain neighborhoods, you're going to get stopped preemptively, whether you did something or not. They're gonna say, "Oh, your tag looks weird," or your lights out, or you came to a rolling stop at the stop line. Just some excuse to stop you. And then there's other places where you're never going to have an interaction with the police just because of the neighborhoods you're in, unless they think you don't belong in that neighborhood.
Right, which is very common.
Yeah,
you're riding around in the Delta 88 in Frisco. It's your ass, partner. You ain't getting up out that motherfucking shit.
Yeah, so
I had that situation in Highland Park the first time I drove through Highland Park. I was in my 93 Acura Integra. I mean, they pulled me over quick than a motherfucker. I mean, fast.
Hey, side note.
We were dressed drop. Go ahead.
No. You finish your story, but okay.
Yeah. So we just driving through. It was one of those things. We were going somewhere. That shit just made us turn around and go home because it was like, because I didn't know any other way to get home from that to that place and back. I just knew driving this way would get me there, and driving back down here would get me back to the house. And when they, it was like one of those things. They basically, what you doing here? It's like, man, we're driving. What do you mean? What are we doing here? I'm not.
What we doing?
Yeah, and we got hemmed up. We all got pulled out the car. And everything. It was one of those
bullshit.
Things like, nigga, this is on a traffic stop.
This is that's bullshit.
I need to go to the house.
Exactly.
I feel like there's three things that I think need to change, and until these things change, we're really not going to change much. One, you got to have oversight, and I don't mean internal affairs, right? You can't have the police investigating the police. That doesn't work, right? Yeah. Because in a department like, everybody's gonna know on some level everybody else. I mean, I guess you could have some of the huge departments like New York.
Man, bullshit, man. I know, I'm shaking hands, making friends with everybody. Fuck all that.
So especially people in internal affairs. But But my whole point is it's a conflict of interest because even if you don't know the guy, you don't even care about the guy who did it. One, it doesn't look good for the department heads. It doesn't look good for the department chief. It doesn't look, it's going to be negative headlines for the mayor. Like, so the entire city leadership has a vested interest in certain stories not coming out. As far as like, for instance, say somebody in some city, a major city, had some police brutality thing today, right? Just today.
Yeah.
And the department gets wind of it. Do you think right now they're going to fairly report on that and release that to the public like they should?
Oh, hell no.
Hell no. Right? They're going to CYA because that's what they do. So you have to have a third party independent group where citizens can call in, file their complaints, and this group also has full authority to go in and investigate, have access to all the documents, film, whatever is available to actually investigate the police and then make a independent ruling on the situation, right?
Right.
Yeah.
And maybe make a recommendation to the DA for prosecution or whatever, if that's in order. That's the first thing. Second, you got to change the culture of the police from this us against them mentality that they have, and that might involve getting rid of a lot of cops, right?
It does, but it is a us versus them. It's always been that way.
It is, but you have to get rid of that mentality. It's not serving us. It's not serving them because people are losing respect for them, and it's certainly not serving the public because a lot of the public doesn't like them. Yeah, so. So changing culture is like anything else, right? When a new football coach comes in and there's a losing culture, he's got to get rid of a lot of people, and it's not because
you got to gut it from the bottom to the top.
And it's not because some of those people aren't good at their jobs. The problem is there's a mentality, and we've all been working somewhere where some new manager comes in from outside and wants to change stuff up. And everybody's attitude, now you might smile in his face, but everybody's attitude as soon as a meeting is over.
You know what he there. Yeah, you know why he there.
You don't know what's going on. He don't know what's actually happening out here. Like, that's people's attitudes, right? And that would be the cops' same attitude. So it would involve turning the force over, which would take years, right? It's going to take years to get new guys in there, train them up right, change the culture, get rid of the bad apples. I'm not saying everybody's got to go. I'm saying the people who don't want to get down and don't want to do it right, then they got to go. And the third part is you got to end the drug war. You got to end the drug war, and you got to end proactive policing. Like all this bullshit about stopping people for every little thing, looking for shit, planting shit on them, all that kind of.
It's that looking for shit thing, right? Yeah. Because again, okay, I smell a hint of marijuana coming from the car. I was smoking. You know what I'm saying? Like, that is what it is. I was smoking. Here it is. Keep it moving. You know what I mean? But then they get to looking for little shit like, oh, let me look in your glove. I'm like, dude, come on now. Like, I mean, if it's that, and every now and again, and that's why they try to put this shit out there, right? Every now and again, like especially like with weed, because that's the biggest one. Cocaine, heroin, lock them motherfuckers up. However, don't lock them up for life like they've been doing. But you got a couple of pounds of weed or something like that. And well, let's search your trunk. Oh, you got a couple of pounds of weed. You're going to distribute that, really? Really? That's the one you're going to put me in jail for that shit?
But here's the thing. I don't even like that. I want to decriminalize everything. And here's the reason why. First of all.
Damn, everything?
I mean, it was like that until like 1960 something. We made it. Okay. We made it that far. I don't know. Maybe we could survive. Maybe since we did it for the first 200 years, we could survive a few more years if we decriminalize it. So, but my point to the whole thing is, at a certain point, if you don't have sovereignty over your own body, what do you truly like? What is freedom? Right. If someone from on high can tell me what I can put in my body as an adult, I'm not saying giving it to kids, but as an adult can tell me what I can put into my body, well, then what are we even doing? Like, what is freedom if I can't control my own body? Right. So yeah, if you want to catch some trafficker who's moving thousands of pounds, first of all, if you think they don't know how this shit's getting in here, you're fucking kidding yourself. And you're not paying attention. You're not paying attention to all the things that have come out over the past 40 years about this drug war.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like Pablo, and this is public record. Pablo Escobar, and this is not like some hearsay. This is from like court proceedings where he talks about how all this shit happened and who he was working with, who he was working for, all these kind of things. And I'm not saying that necessarily he was a subsidiary, but I'm saying he knew people in order to get the shit in, right? He knew people on the inside. So if they really wanted to shut it down and keep it out,
they could shut that shit down.
They could shut that shit down and keep it out. Now, some shit like weed where you can grow it here, you know, it's just going to be here. But everything else, you know, and then heroin, that's just an opioid. Like that's not, they're not flying or floating that shit in anywhere. Like we already have it here. It's used in pharmaceuticals. It's just when, when it's in Xantax or some shit like that, then it's fine for you to OD or sell it under the table or do all this other kind of shit. But if it's just the raw street version of the same exact molecule, now it's a felony that you got to go to. You know, it doesn't make sense.
But they do. But you know why they do that, because it's a cash money game, man. You know, they're not able to tax it, and it said what America's really been
built on. If you decriminalize it, you could tax it. Pharmaceutical drugs are taxable.
But one thing. This is my thing about America, and we all know this. They're great at getting it at both ends. Phrasing that. You know, we make it look like this shit is bad, but on the backside, we're still funneling this shit. So we get to jail you and have, like you said, a war on drugs, so we can pump a lot of money into that shit, and we get that shit on the back end because we know the dudes, we know who's bringing it in. So we're gonna hey, you want to use this port? All right, that's such this X amount of dollars or such and such and da. Like you said with Pablo Escobar, this nigga was taking pictures in front of the White House. Do you think this nigga was scared? Like, no.
And then just using your common sense, it's like, okay, we spend over $1 trillion on intelligence between the CIA, NSA, and a bunch of other ones that we don't even know about. On intelligence, you think they don't know who's bringing
Men in Black, baby?
Like, come on, it's not even Men in Black. It's just they have access to all the world's fucking information. Like you'd think they don't know, and it's been going on for decades. They haven't known in decades who's doing it. In decades, the CIA and NSA haven't been able to figure out what's going on. Of course they have.
Decades.
Of course they have. Anybody listening, just look up the congressional hearing on Iran-Contra. You'll learn everything you need to know about how the shit's getting in and what the CIA knew and knows and continues to know about it. But beyond all that, we don't need to solve them problems. My point is, I mean, we know the game and that is dirty, the whole thing, right? But I'm saying these are the things that you have to fix, because these are the things that they use to harass people, you know, and these are the things they use to destroy people's lives. Like when you see somebody plant some shit on somebody, like that's some of the most evil shit you can possibly do, because when you know what's gonna happen,
this person is innocent.
Yeah, you know they're innocent.
You know this person's innocent.
Yeah, and you know what's about to happen to them, and you know it's not right, but you just did it so you can get another stat, you know.
Yeah, and like it's, and a lot of that shit is just so fucking stupid to me, right? You know, and it kind of taking it back to the George Floyd shit, like a counterfeit $20 bill
that actually wasn't counterfeit.
Regardless, a counterfeit $20 bill, it required 4 motherfuckers to go get a counterfeit $20 bill, dude. And what make it even worse is the motherfucker that called the police. Now, just tell the dude to get the fuck out of your store and keep it moving. If you think it's fake, you know, man, just get the fuck out of my store, man. Go
if you think it's fake, take your product, give him his 20 and go about your business.
Keep it moving.
But my point is, police have got to be like, you're supposed to be the trained professional, man. Like you can't, like they don't take responsibility. And this is, again, comes back to the good cops. Like, don't make excuses for these dudes coming in with these combative attitudes into every goddamn situation, because they're basically the cop version of Trump. Like I said, Trump makes everything worse. You know, like when you come in with a shitty attitude into a shitty situation, you just make the shitty situation shittier.
Right.
You're not helping.
buddy was he was a senior officer on the scene. All them niggas is like 6-7 months. I think one was a year into the force. So when he come on the scene, even if it wasn't the one initially there, he's gonna take over. And like I said, if you're a rookie or first year dude on the scene, you're gonna kind of step back to him because obviously he knows a little bit more than me. You're gonna kind of default. That's like default to the vet at work or something like that. And show me the road. I was like, this nigga try to basically training day these niggas on live camera.
Yeah, he did, and but, after a while, it just get to a point where like you're
ain't
human.
Gonna be the last train they see. I can tell you that much.
Oh no, hell no!
Once they get to that pin, they're gonna see a lot of trains.
Okay, so that brings up another point. So it got upgraded to second degree murder. For the George Floyd circumstance. Not shot out, but side note, the officers in Breonna Taylor's case, which is not even a case at this point, they have still not been arrested, but that's a different story. We'll talk about that, I'm sure, in a couple of weeks. But nevertheless,
sound on your side? Hearing a little feedback.
I don't know.
LPs?
Oh, I don't know. It's one of y'all.
I don't know. It might be me.
I mean, if y'all don't hear it, then maybe it's just coming over my headphones.
Yeah. Gotcha.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, so nevertheless, you got it got upgraded to second degree murder, right?
Mm-hmm.
What are the odds? What are the odds that he get actually convicted of that shit? Like just as of right now, with all the unrest and all civil unrest and all this other shit.
Right?
Yeah.
So how many years you get for second? Anybody know?
At 25 to 40.
Yeah.
In Minneapolis, Minnesota.
That'll do you. I mean, I think he should. I mean, see, here's the thing though, and this is why I think it should be first degree. Is because one, it is one, you're in a position of power, and the person can't fight back. If they can't fight back, you have him in handcuffs on his belly on the ground jammed up next to a car, and you're a cop, meaning he can't try to fight and do something because it's gonna make it even worse. I feel like that's first degree. Like, I know the lower levels are like, oh, I didn't mean to kill him, or maybe I did it out of rage or some weird emotional thing. So it's not first degree where it's premeditated, which I think is like one of the major things for first degree is being premeditated. But I don't know. I don't know whether, and maybe it's easier to convict them on second degree because you don't have to prove premeditation.
Right. Because you can't go and like they're trying to tie all that shit in together, right? Oh, well, he was a security guard. They were a security guard. Like they're trying to tie all that shit in together, right? Like, and I think that's what's been the biggest issue. That's what's been the biggest issue with a lot of that shit, right? The biggest issue is, damn, how can you prove that this motherfucker was a racist, right? And so that's where the problem starts to come in at, because it's like, oh, okay, well, I can't prove that this guy is a racist, so give him 10 years or not guilty type shit.
I don't know about that. The motherfucker had 19 citations on him about some aggressive force on him and shit like that. So I don't know. I think that might be a little bit easier to prove. Like this dude, not like he had a clean ass record. This dude is documented being a fucking asshole.
Right. He is documented. Now to prove that he was a racist piece of shit, all 19 would have to be niggas.
Not necessarily. I don't think so. He just got to think they're below him.
Fair enough. Now, in pardon my ignorance, is this the first time he's killed somebody? Jamile, you muted your own mic.
Yeah, I don't think I don't think so. I know he's been into. My bad.
Oh no. Well, here's one interesting thing. So, so Joe Biden, if anybody remembers, he's running for president. Mm-hmm. So he's been vetting VP candidates, right? And one of the VP
does he remember?
I don't think
he's running for president.
Somebody will tell him in a few minutes. I'm sure they remind him every 5 minutes when his memory resets. But so he's running. So he's vetting VP candidates right now, like people to run with him. And so one of the leading people was Amy Klobuchar, who's like a senator from Minnesota. And nobody gives a shit about her. She was in the primary. Nobody remembers. Who cares?
Nobody. Where that Hawaiian chick at?
So she was the front runner. Now it came out that Derek Chauvin, the very cop who killed George Floyd, was actually could have been charged for another crime back when she was the state's attorney in Minnesota, not too long ago, like maybe a couple of years ago. And had she pressed charges then, there's a chance that he never even has a chance to kill George Floyd because he's already off the force, right? But she didn't. Of course, she didn't prosecute him. And so now it looks like she's not going to be able to be on Biden's ticket because it obviously would be too much criticism. Now, the one thing I find interesting about it is like when you read about it in political writing, political magazines or whatever, they always talk about it like, well, that is going to be a liability for her. So whatever. I'm like, nobody talks about the moral thing and that the fact that the Democrats didn't care that she had this on her record before. They didn't care about Kamala Harris, who they're also looking at as a VP. They didn't care. They don't care about her record as a prosecutor before all this stuff happened. Now that this happened, they know it's going to be a liability come election time. So now they're looking at it. But I just like to point those little tiny details out to show you how full of shit they really are. For anybody who still has an illusion about where the Democrats stand, like they will sell your ass up a river unless you like have a flashlight on them. You catch them like, oh, and they'll be like, oh no, I don't like rivers at all. I wasn't gonna. Why would I sell you on something I don't even like? So I thought that was an interesting little piece to it.
No, absolutely.
Well, okay, with all, and I know I'm taking this from somebody that asked me about this. It's like, where do we all kind of get off on this defunding the police with this shit? Because that's kind of came out of this. Because this is one of those things, now it's a thing to talk about, like defunding the police, and I think it's kind of got misconstrued. Like they're taking it to the extreme, obviously, because it's motherfucker, everybody always take everything to the extreme. To me, when I hear defunding the police, I'm looking at it like, I don't think like I've seen like a couple of days ago, Houston's PD gets like $3 billion a year. Like, I could see defunding them, taking like $1 billion away from them.
I mean, you know what I'm saying? God damn.
Yeah, if that's called defunding the police, then I'm with that, because there's no reason why. There's the army and all that shit. There's the military for a reason. We shouldn't have military on our home soil like that, where like in our neighborhood, where these motherfuckers could just, if they feel like they can come in this hole with a tank.
Literally. Yeah, a lot of former military people are police officers.
I mean,
and that. Here's some of y'all thoughts on that.
Go ahead, LP.
Well, I was going to say, I'm with you on that. Like, if defunding the police means taking, when they say defund, that's exactly what they're doing. They're taking a little bit of money from the police officers, and they're moving it to somewhere else, right? And I'm perfectly fine with them doing that. Like, I'm perfectly fine with them, taking money from police, putting it in areas, communities, and shit like that, where the money is actually needed. Like you said, Simon, and shit. If you're getting $3 billion, what's another goddamn billion? Like, don't give me this pension shit. Don't give me all this. Like, no, it's $1 billion. You're taking it and put it somewhere else. And that is by definition what they are doing, right? The only thing is, they are still choosing. It's kind of like Jamal's thing with the internal affairs. They're still choosing where this money is going, right? They're still putting their thumb on where the money is going to be. And I still have a problem with that.
Well, my thought about it is just that when you talk about defunding the police, I mean, I think it sounds like, oh, you're just getting rid of the police department, which is not really what they're talking about. And so what they really mean is if you are a police department with a bad record, we're going to start pulling your funding back until you get your shit together. Now, it's the same thing they used to do with schools, which turned out as a disaster. But schools are a different thing from policing. I think it would be, if you constructed it the right way, I think it could be effective. Because then from the leadership level, you start seeing, okay, well, if we keep having these complaints about us and having these incidents, we're going to start losing money. We're not going to be able to pay for all the different things that they pay for. And so then you get yourself into a situation where it's a positive incentive, meaning they haven't cracked down on it just out of their human decency because they don't fucking have any. But but instead you give them an actual incentive, something they understand, which is money, right? And you say, okay, look, if you have a certain amount of complaints, obviously you adjust it per capita for the city you're in. You have a certain amount of complaints, per capita for whatever city you're in, you're going to lose 10% of your money. If it goes above another threshold, 20%, another threshold, 30% as a penalization for doing that. I mean, I think there's lots of things you could do. Like I would give police bonuses, right? So, for instance, in business, a lot of people are paid bonuses, and it drives a lot of incentives, right? Where you'll hit certain or drive to try to hit certain numbers because hey, if you hit this number, our whole team gets a bonus. Boom, everybody has a good Christmas, right? For cops, if you could tie some type of like their pay incentives, like say, hey, we start off the year, everybody's getting a $15,000 bonus. I don't know, just pick a number. Everybody's getting a $15,000 bonus. Depending on what our service record is, right, which is how you do it in business. Right now, it's different, depends on the business, but depending on what our record is in terms of how we treated our citizens, that determines how much of that bonus we'll actually get. Maybe we end up with only getting 2,000. Maybe we only get 5,000. Whatever it is, where then guys have an incentive to be like, hey man, look, don't fuck this up for me, right? I don't know, but something like that,
something that holds them more accountable to themselves, so they don't get away with that bullshit. Not like, because we've all heard this where, oh man, it's the end of the month, these cops are gonna be out and they're gonna be serving these tickets because they're trying to hit a quota type shit. Like kind of the reverse of that. To me, that gives you a bad stigma of like, yeah, you don't want to go through that neighborhood or you don't want to go through that town or city right there because they're gonna be harassing you for bullshit.
Yeah.
Right. And it's like shit, even now, like I just shout out to the Waze app. I drive now with the Waze app, like every time I leave the house. And the reason why I do that, just to see if there's any, spots for cops setting up, shit like that, speed traps, whatever the fuck you want to call it. But I have noticed an influx in that. Now, the influx is coming from two reasons. One, civil unrest. Two, because everybody's starting to get out in the open now with this COVID shit. Everybody opening up, right? And but yeah, that shit, it just I don't get it. I don't understand why these motherfuckers still have this power over people. I just don't get it. I just don't understand.
Yeah, I mean, you just have to go ahead, Simon.
No, I was saying because the system is working like it's supposed to, man. We look at it like common sense, like this shouldn't be happening. But like I said, it took this, and it took basically the whole world to be like, no, that's fucked up, for them to be like, oh, maybe something is fucked up with our system. Because it was working perfectly fine for white folks. And let's be honest, it was working perfectly fine for white folks. This rarely happens in their community. And then when it does, like, they make a big scene about it like that, and that shit, some people get fired, people go to jail and all that shit. But when we say some shit like that, it's always all well, because they run the same play. Oh, if he was just following the laws, this shit wouldn't happen. Or if he was just background, he was a criminal in 2016. He did something, and I always try to dehumanize us to make it easier for them to take that this dude just took a life. Now this time it's like, nah, you can't run that same fucking play and everybody just be okay with that shit.
Yeah, I mean, cops just have to start understanding, and like I said, this is going to have to be enforced because nobody's just going to start understanding stuff. If they, especially grown men, if they've been doing something a certain way.
Oh no, I ain't changing shit. I ain't changing.
So like, there was this video I saw today, and there's this guy, and I would not recommend this. This was not smart on his part, but he was talking shit to this cop, and he had his phone out recording the cop. Like, so there's a bunch of cops standing on the side. I think maybe there's a protest.
Are you talking about the midget guy?
I couldn't see him. He wasn't on camera, so I don't know if he was a midget. But he is a guy. He's standing in front of a group of cops, and I think they're watching some kind of protest or something behind the camera. And so but he's got his phone up, right? And he's talking to the cops. I think they may have just done something. And so he's talking shit to one cop who's like pretty small. Maybe that's
the midget guy. The midget.
Oh, I didn't think it was a midget. I just thought he was small. But he's talking cash money
in New
shit.
York?
I think so.
Yeah,
he's talking
beat your
cash
ass. Like,
money
if
shit.
If the partners wouldn't around you, I'll beat your ass. That's what he was doing.
He's talking cash money shit, and now he should not. I would not have been talking shit, but whatever. He's talking cash money shit, and the cop. Now nobody has engaged. The cops are just standing there silent, and the guy's talking shit. And so then he says something, and you could tell the guy got mad and pulls out his billy club.
He immediately pulled out his fucking baton.
And so I point that out because, okay, in this exact example, okay, he's kind of poking the bear, so it's not a great example. But my point is, they feel like anytime somebody pisses them off a little bit, they have the right to just like beat their ass. You know what I'm saying?
That's the problem.
Yeah,
that is the problem in itself. I think you sent that video earlier, but
so.
That exactly is the problem because again. He's over there talking shit about you. Yeah, no, you're so cute, whatever. He talking shit about you, but you got 90 motherfuckers around you, and your first thing was to pull out a baton. You were
like, dude, you know he's not gonna run up on you.
He's not. You're surrounded by other cops, and he's got a camera in his hand, so I'm not in a position to fight you. So, and I would just be capturing my own crime on camera. That makes no sense.
Yeah.
So he's not going to do anything, but it's one of them things where, as a cop, again, I don't think you should, it's kind of like when you say, women who always run around talking about hit me, now you shouldn't hit them. You should not ever hit them.
No,
but also don't be running up on people like that. So
that's the example.
He should have been poking the bear with the cop, but
right.
But my point is the cop also doesn't have the right to just decide, okay, well now I'm
whoop your
ass. So
yeah.
So I don't know. It's going to take a lot to change that, but I think one of the main things we can do is to end the drug war, so you don't have so many excuses to stop people, right? And
I think that's why I think that ties into the defunding thing, in my opinion, because. The drug war is such a big thing, and we all grew up on the drug war. Basically, drugs are bad. This. So whatever means we got to do to get drugs off the street, we're gonna do, and that goes to me that'll go right to the defunding, because if you are in the drug war, I think a lot of their arsenal as a cop, as a police. And stuff like that, police force, goes down, because now you don't need these tanks and shit like that. When you're saying, oh man, they got all these guns and drugs in there, now you don't need that shit.
If drugs were decriminalized, what are you arresting people for now? Now you have the main shit of killing, which happens rarely, raping,
drinking,
stealing, disorderly conduct, like you're talking about, drinking, domestic issues, but the majority of what cops do, to Simon's point, is chasing motherfuckers down, trying to find some drugs on them, or they think somebody got a stash house, or they got whatever, kicking people's doors in. All that shit goes away because now you don't have all you have at that point is shit that happens that you have to go investigate after the fact.
And back to your original point, as far as like, you know, what I'm putting in my own body should not be illegal. If I decide to do this, that shouldn't be illegal. You know what I mean? It's kind of like a seatbelt.
They only do that with certain shit because you can put as much food in your body as you want to, much alcohol in your body as you want to, as much this, that, and the third, prescription pills as you want. But once it comes to these certain things, these categorized things, then it's we gotta kick in your door, and you gotta have guns at your face and all this shit. It's like, wait. Like you said, it's just the way it's processed. Like you said with the opioids, I saw a motherfucking commercial. Now I can go get that shit from my doctor, but I can go get that heroin from up the street, but you're gonna kick in my door for the heroin, but I'm perfectly fine with this shit, and it's gonna make you do the same thing.
Same high, depending on how much you take.
You get that exact thing. That's why I don't even like pills anyway. I don't care if it's Tylenol, ibuprofen, or nothing. Like, I'll take them if I need them. But like, there's no reason for something this fucking big to fuck my big ass up, man. There's no reason for that shit to happen that way.
Potent.
Motherfucker, pop a Benadryl if you want to.
Yeah, but I think the thing people have to get in their head though is that regardless of whether you have to deal with the shit personally or not, none of this stuff helps you. Like, even if you're a rich white person who lives somewhere in some suburb and never has to deal with any of this stuff, it doesn't help you for your fellow citizens to be going through this because it makes the whole community worse. Right? It makes everything worse. And now you have to you may not see it directly, but you're going to see it in other ways, right? You got to have an alarm system. You got to have, higher insurance. You got to be worried about all these different things because you've criminalized a section of your society. Yeah,
because when people are desperate, people will do desperate shit.
Yeah,
and there's nothing worse than
that. Remember when we used to have massacres from the mob? And then they just decriminalized alcohol, which was their fucking drug game in that time. They decriminalized it. No more mob massacres. Amazing how it just went away.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? They didn't have to do shit. They didn't have to bust them. They didn't have to do no RICO cases. They didn't have to do none of that shit. They just got rid of the alcohol. I mean, just, not got rid of it, but legalized the alcohol.
Right.
And that was it. You took away their racket. You took away the black market that gave them power.
They legalized alcohol, but they kept the RICO laws. It's bullshit.
Hey, look, you always need those to get somebody that
just in case.
Be like, you didn't write that stamp off.
That it's been, enlightening to me through this whole kind of pandemic and all now the civil unrest. They're enacting some of these just minute, just obscure motherfucking actions and legislate that been on the books for 275 years and only been enacted once or twice before. Like, nigga, what the? Like, there's a lot of fail-safe shit in this motherfucker where, if it gets to this point, I like when Trump was talking about bringing the military in to cities and shit, like, and acting, what was that, Insurrection Act? Yeah. Like, I know a couple of times before, but it's like, so this nigga can just become a dictator if some shit just becomes, if he feels it warranted. Like, what the fuck?
but here's how that could.
Bring it on.
This is how LP that ain't finna do nothing. Nah,
you ain't seen that.
They roll down the street in the tank, and LP like, bring it on. What the fuck you gonna do?
You ain't seen that other one though.
That other one ain't gonna do much either. Nigga.
I know, right? What's that? 7 of them in front of you. You got it.
You can only hold one at a time. But no, the way that could really work out. And I'm very nervous about this. I have to say, I'm nervous about it. Fast forward to November. and somebody wakes Joe Biden up on November 4th and they remind him, you're running for president today. Remember, they play that. Has anybody seen Me, Myself, and Irene?
Of course.
Where he has to play her the video every day so she can remember her family and everything.
No, nigga, that was 51st Dates.
That's
Adam Sandler. Whatever. He makes the same movie over and over. But
don't you do Adam Sandler like that?
Don't do it. Adam is a good one. I still haven't seen Uncut Gems.
Side note, I was just about to say, cold. That movie is cold.
I'm gonna smoke that home and watch it tonight. All right, man.
Please do. It's cold. Oh my goodness. Wait, I'm not even gonna say nothing. All right. Anyway, back to what I was saying. What was I saying?
Oh, about Joe Biden, the election.
Oh yeah.
Waking him up.
We wake him up November 4th. Everybody goes out to vote. Of course, there's shenanigans every election day. It's not like anything unique to Trump. There's shenanigans. Whatever happens, it's razor tight. Even though Biden was like 5 points ahead in the polls coming in, where have we seen that before? And there's a lot of dispute. Kind of like Gore, Bush. There's a lot of dispute, and people. But here's the difference: people didn't like Bush, but they didn't like him like they don't like regular politicians. Because even though he was corrupt, just like the rest of them, he was corrupt like regular politicians.
He was a spoiled brat. That's what he was.
He was just more of what we've always seen, right?
Mm-hmm.
At least he had some type of decorum.
Yeah, Trump. They actually hate Trump, like on every level.
Right.
So if you got in a Bush-Gore situation where it was up in the air, we really don't know who won. We still kind of really don't know who really won. It went to court. The courts kind of didn't know what the hell was going on. And eventually the side that was willing to take it the furthest won. And when I say take it, I mean the court battle. Won, right? Okay, say the same thing happens this time, right? And we know how Trump is, right? And we know he's not going to be like diplomatic about it. He's not going to be cool about the situation. But if there's enough people who think like, hey, there's something going on, Trump is immediately going to shut it down, like any kind of investigations or anything like that, people will be upset. And they're already used to rioting. The economic situation in November is going to be worse than it is today. I could see you getting to a situation where you have riots where people are concerned that the election wasn't fair. And especially if Trump wins, I mean, not if Biden wins. But if Trump wins, people think the election isn't fair. And Trump's like, well, there's rioting. And I did warn you about that Insurrection Act back when y'all were rioting before. Let me go ahead on. Give me a little Insurrection Act here.
Yeah, I'm not. He gonna use that shit.
My point is, once you declare martial law, the rest of the law is on hold. It's on
everything goes out the window.
You basically put the Constitution on. You basically postpone it.
Right.
Which is how other dictators have done it, right? Most of them they declare a state of emergency, which is usually enough, depending on what country you're in, and then they make their move, right? Whatever their bold move is, to be like, nah, I win.
Right. I don't think
they see how many generals are going to follow them. If you get enough of them, all right, well, we here.
He got it.
But if you don't get enough of them, you might have to get the fuck.
I don't think it's going to get to that point, though.
I don't know. Because I don't know, because a lot of them motherfuckers be lock and stock with this nigga. Whatever he says, they just kind of follow behind. It's one of those things. You get with it, you get rolled over, especially with Trump. It's like, man, you get with it, man, I'm gonna send my legions at you, right? And I'm gonna tag you with a nickname, and everybody's gonna jump on your ass. And phrasing.
So Colin Powell, his speech didn't help.
Because that's one of the and that's one of the reasons when he said the shit a week ago, I was like, did this nigga just try to make us a police state? Because he sure did do that, and then he did some real dictatorship with that shit when he went and took that photo op. That was like, it went real seamlessly into that. I was like, this nigga just tried to flex, because it was a flex of his power. We all, and anybody could see that. But it was, to me, we all saw it didn't go as bad as it went bad as far as me and us looking at it. It's like, nigga, what the fuck are you doing? But with his people, they were like, oh no, he was within his rights to do that, and blah 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 blah. All the bullshit minutia they want to say with that shit. But it's like, no, nigga, this nigga just moved niggas out the way so I can go take a picture.
A picture that he didn't even really want to take.
Right. He didn't.
But I honestly think that was like that whole Insurrection Act thing. I think that was just a test run, just a poke in the bear. Like, let's see how they respond to this kind of a thing. Because when you just look at Trump, somebody this narcissistic and who has never been, who's always considered himself a big deal, but everybody else has considered him a joke. At least in like those elite circles that he cares about. But now he's in a job and in a position where people finally had to take him serious. He's not just some, game show host, spoiled brat dude, right? Now he actually has real power, can affect your life, especially if you're one of these elite people whose business depends on dealing with the government, right? So, and getting certain things that you need passed. So now they have to take him serious. You think he's going to want to go back to just being a joke and just being, because it's not like he's going to have a post-presidency where he's just, going around to schools making speeches and shit. Like, no, nobody's going to want to hear from him.
Gerard Carmichael said it best on his stand-up 8 on HBO. It's still on there. It is phenomenal. He said, the guy that you bullied in high school has a gun now. Yeah, basically. And that's what it boils down. That's what it boils down.
And Trump's gun and his bullet got motherfucking nuclear warhead capability.
It's bullshit. So, since we're 1 hour, 11 minutes into this, let me ask you this. What are the next steps? Because again, we go a couple of weeks, everybody's doing the same thing, everybody's good. It's kind of like 9/11, right? By 9/21, everybody was back to being assholes, okay? So what are the next steps to pushing forward with this police brutality shit?
Well, this is the hard part, right? All the whining and bitching is the easy part of pointing out what all the problems are. Now, there are solutions. We talked about some of those potential solutions. Yes. But the problem is, okay, so they came out with this little bill. This is, in my opinion, you know how like people always say you never take the first offer, like if you're in a negotiation. Like even if you like the first offer, right? You'll be like, well, let me just see what I can get. Maybe if I can get even $1 more is a little bit better, right? So to me, this bill is the opening of the negotiation where they're trying to say, oh, here's something, right? And what they really want is just for people to see the headlines, see, oh, look, we're doing something. And then maybe they even pass it and they say, oh, look, we did something. Can't chokehold anymore. All right. Right. And then they'll want people to be like, all right, well, they'll relax and move on to something else. But you can't. We have to keep the pressure. Now, this is the only way we're going to get change. Now, what'll probably, I'll tell you what I think will probably happen, and then what I hope happens, right? What'll probably happen is they'll pass this little bullshit bill the Democrats put up. They'll have some debate over it or whatever, but they'll pass it eventually. People will see that. They'll think, okay, well, we did something, and the protests will subside, and that'll kind of be it. And we'll just be, maybe this will flare up now and again as we get videos of other things happening, but it'll just be more of the same. What I hope happens is that Black people realize that we gotta, and all people really have this, but in our case, we have to take it more seriously, like the savior complex, right? I talk about this in politics because everybody keeps acting like we're just going to elect the right guy or girl or whatever, and then shit's going to change. Like, no, when you have
overnight,
when you have a broken system, people say, oh, elections matter. Like, especially when shit like this happens, they'll say, see, elections matter. No, they don't. They don't matter at all, because when you have a broken system, a system that is completely and thoroughly broken on every level, you can't fix it in any one election. And unless something is a topic and like on top of mind in every election going forward, then maybe you could get some traction. but that's not realistic, right? Because there's always going to be other issues. There's going to be economic issues. Different things are going to come up. So you can't have that savior complex where you're waiting on the right person to come along. I even say stuff like, "Oh man, what if Malcolm X was still alive, or what if Martin Luther King was still alive?" That's even that.
I don't want to see that.
Even that is the wrong way to be thinking about it, right? Because we have to, until we collectively get rid of that savior complex and stop waiting on a great white or black hope to come save us and take it into our own hands, nothing's going to change, right? So the things that I've seen a lot of black people doing have been very encouraging in terms of supporting black businesses. And if we do that enough, we'll build up over time an economic base where we can start taking some of these things out of their hands and put them more into our own hands, right? And so
basically consolidating.
Exactly. So until we do that and are consistent with it, and making white America pay in the only way that they truly understand, which is in the pocketbook. It's the only thing that they truly understand. It's the only thing that's really going to move them, right? Mm-hmm. So they did this masterfully in the civil rights movement, boycotting things, and they actually got shit done. And this is when it was much harder to get society to move off of something racial, right?
Yeah, because what they was doing in Selma, Alabama, no one in fucking Texas knew what was popping.
Yeah, so but now you can spread a mass boycott throughout, instantly in a day. In a day, it can become trending and everybody knows about it. And if you act on it and stick together, you can make real change, Mm-hmm. So, just, pick a business that's benefiting off of something, because these corporations have lobbying power and you got to use that against them because they use it against us, the power that they have, So right. Everybody just say, pick a store, Walmart, or I'm not saying it has to be Walmart. I'm just saying pick a store, Target.
Fuck Walmart.
Say Target since it's based in Minnesota, right? And that's where this movement, so to speak, got started. So you just say, we're not, and Target, and I say Target because it's easier for people not to shop at Target than Walmart.
But because I don't shop at Target now. So
exactly. So
yeah, that's the point.
But just say, hey, look, we don't shop at Target anymore. This is America. There's plenty of stores to get the shit you can get from Target at, right? We don't shop at Target anymore. Target,
Amazon.
Yeah, look, we got to start with the low hanging fruit, okay? All right, that's the problem. That's the problem. Like we go all the way up. Start with something we can do.
That's the catch-22.
Start with something we can do. I don't mind. I would boycott Amazon. I'm just saying.
No, you can't.
Not on a quarantine. You can't. You can't boycott Amazon on quarantine.
You can't boycott Amazon. Jeff Bezos came out and said, like he came out against somebody that was talking all that shit. He was like, "That's a customer I don't mind losing." So Bezos, however you want to pronounce that motherfucking name, he good with me. I'm shopping on Amazon going forward.
But
that's because that motherfucker got all the money in the world.
Jesus Christ.
But I mean, you can take your pick though. You could take your pick and just say, we're not supporting certain types of businesses, especially if there's a black substitute to it that we can find, right?
Yeah,
there's a black substitute to everything.
Exactly. So if you were to do that, you could get enough political will to get some of these things that we really want done. Now you'd also have to be organized, which I don't know what organizations we got, but somebody will pop up, right? It always does, and there's lots of good people who will have.
And they're gonna kill it.
I think it's a little bit more easier to organize now since everybody can get that shit instantaneously. I can send out a mass email or something like that, and it goes right to your hip. And you kind of get locked in step. But it's about, to me, what you're saying is always about the follow up.
Yeah,
because it's easy to do that. Oh yeah, we'll do that shit for a week, maybe a month at the longest, and then motherfucker kind of get back into that routine. Like you say, we're all creatures of habit, so we kind of get back in our routine of shit, and I wasn't supposed, and then kind of go right back to what it was.
Yeah. So I mean, those are the things, and I would look at industries myself personally, at industries where black people support them. Sneakers, right? Like you just look at the statistics, we do help support. We're not the whole market, but a giant piece of it. We're a giant piece of it. What if we said, yeah, we're just not going to do basketball shoes this year? We're not doing Nike this year. You know, like, you know, get some New Balance. But my point is, then you would start getting their attention, and that's how you keep it top of mind. Because trust me, it ain't going away from Nike if there's a boycott against them. And
Nike put Colin Kaepernick on a commercial. They ain't going nowhere.
I know. I'm just saying. I'm just using them as an example, though, because what I'm saying is the corporations who have corporate power. This is why I would actually prefer to be Walmart, because they're one of the biggest corporate players in terms of power on Capitol Hill.
Sure.
Man.
You know, if you could somehow now, like I said, they're harder to boycott because they sell cheap shit, and a lot of people don't have money, and you're gonna go for the cheapest option. It's just what it is.
Yeah, you can grocery shop and get your oil change in the same spot.
Yeah, it's tough. It's tough. It's tough, man, to boycott them. But once we start flexing out economic power, then you have a shot. And you don't even have to get all black people to do it. If you got 25% of black people to do a certain thing, trust me, they're going to see that in their bottom line. You know,
right.
So, you know, that's
like you said, that's what they're most concerned about, is that bottom line, man.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, between that and then politically, we have to, first of all, decide on what we want, you know, and, you know, that has to be a conversation amongst black people, like decide on what we want.
Well, there's not going to be any unity of that, because, and there's not even, I'm going to say this shit too. There's not even unity amongst white people when it comes to that shit, right? Because rich white people don't give a fuck about middle-class white people, and then they damn sure don't give a fuck about white trash, right? So there'll never be unity in like the black community when it comes to that shit, right? It's just a matter of okay, we had civil rights that we had back in the 60s, 50s and 60s and 70s, shit like that, right? It's just a matter of having the same opportunities to be able to succeed, right? Making sure that our kids have better options than just listening to music that perpetuate pimping or selling drugs, and like that's where the shit's gonna go down to, right? Because we're not gonna get on one accord. We just can't, because everybody has
as
different.
It relates to police brutality specifically. Like,
I think we can all get on the court on that.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, yeah, it kind of goes back to the example I was saying earlier. Like I said, if I get pulled over by a police officer and a motherfucker 5'9", I'm 6'1", 260. Like, yeah, oh, you know what? I'm probably gonna die. Like, okay, here we go. You ready?
Yeah, I mean, we need to come out with like a Citizens Bill of Rights or some shit like that, which we already have a Bill of Rights. So,
right,
you know, you shouldn't have. It's kind of like having to pass a Civil Rights Act. Shouldn't you already have civil rights if you're a citizen? Shouldn't
you already have that, right?
Yeah, it just means the government isn't doing a good job of actually enforcing those things. So it was
common sense.
It's like, well, we got to pass a law to make you treat you the same as everybody else. That makes no sense.
And at the bare minimum, that's what black people are asking for, right? And I'm friends with a ton of white people, right? You know, at the same time, as some of them just don't get it. They don't understand, like, no, there is a thing with being black in America. There is a thing, you know what I mean?
Here's like
this is
no, go ahead.
This is a perfect example to me that kind of sums up how it feels to kind of be a black guy in America when, you know, dealing with the police. You can be driving the street and you see the law going the opposite way that you're going. You're going north, he's going south. And, you know, being black, you're going to, even if he passes you, you're going to kind of look in your rear view and see, okay, if he's just going to keep on
what
going.
You looking at, nigga?
Yeah, but if you see him make that U-ey in the back, there's nothing like that. You see that?
yeah, exactly.
That is my. Nobody outside, white people don't know about it. Asians, nobody. They don't know that feeling. Like, fuck, he's coming to fuck with me. You know in your spirit, you're just like, no, like, god damn it. And your tags will be right. You don't have no suspended license. your insurance up to date, nothing. But you know, like this motherfucker gonna get behind me and he's gonna run my plates. He's gonna follow me for about a mile and a half, some shit like that. He's gonna rev up behind me, he's gonna get real close to kind of let you know I have this power over you. And let you know, and you gotta be 10 and 2, and you don't make no sudden swerve like you just would be normally driving and shit like that. If he does, he's gonna flag you. You're gonna be on the side of the road and you're gonna be like, what did I do, officer?
Yeah.
And feeling like that. Because you know your life is in danger for literally doing nothing.
Yeah. I mean, I have seen cops, you know, behind, like I'll be driving and I'll notice, oh shit, there's a cop back there, but he may be a little ways back. And I'll just turn off. I'll just turn off shit. I'll be like, nope, not today. I ain't got time for this shit today.
Nah.
Let me just turn off. I'll make the block, come back around and get back on my way.
Like I said, there's no when I see a law, it doesn't matter if he's going the opposite way, he's in front of me or something like that. When I see him, my eye does not leave him. He's always in the corner of my eye or something. I don't take my eye off of him because I know all it takes is a second and he's gonna be right behind me. He's rolling me with some bullshit.
Yeah. So, I mean, it's crazy, man. It's crazy. I remember I was in Plano once, and I was at Lifetime Fitness, and playing basketball with some friends. Right. So I didn't live out. I lived in Addison at that time, and so I didn't live out in Plano. But you know, Plano is just a hop skip from Addison. So I'm up there playing basketball. So I leave the gym about 10 o'clock at night because we played. I think we started playing at 7. So I leave the gym about 10 o'clock at night. I'm about to head back to the highway to go down to Addison. And I stop at a stoplight. And I'm the only person on the street. There is no other car on the street at this time but me. And then there's a cop that I see coming down the other direction, and he stops at the stoplight across, right? So I'm at this stoplight. He's at the other stoplight. And I see him, and he sees me. And I was like, I know this nigga about to pull me over. And I'm literally at a stoplight. So the light turns green. The light turns green. His lights come on. And then he makes a little U-E come behind me. I pull over. And this was one of the scariest things because it's late at night in Plano. So Plano's not a part of the city where people are out very late. It closes pretty early, everything out there.
Shit.
So at least the part I was at, the street I was on, ain't nobody was on this street. So I pull off on the side and there's nobody there, right? And there was no shoulder to the street we were on, so I had to pull into a little parking lot. There's nobody on the street. There's nobody coming. And I'm like, fuck. And I know I didn't do anything wrong because I was at a stop. So what could I have done wrong? Yeah. So he says that I was too far out where I stopped. I didn't stop behind the line or whatever, or the red light. And that was why he pulled me over. I'm like, what does it fucking matter? Like, I didn't say this, but I'm like, what the fuck does it matter? Like, I'm the only car on the street. I mean.
But the thing is, you couldn't even say, what does that matter? A white person could say that. You couldn't say that.
Yeah. So I was just like, oh, okay. Well, just give me the ticket.
Yeah. Y'all better than me because I talk shit because I know I'm going to jail every time they pull me over. I talk too much shit every time. Well, okay, let me stop lying to you. The last time I didn't talk shit because the first time I got pulled over, and I think I told y'all the story too. First time I got pulled over with having my gun license and shit like that. So I was actually petrified as fuck, right? Like at that point, I'm like, oh, you know what? I'm gonna die today. Let me start sending these text messages out. This Mary Lou Helen, tell him I love you. But I got pulled over, and man, police came up to the car, and I told them I was at 10 and 2, which I never do. Right? Like normal, I'm just like whatever. And so I told police, hey, license registration, and I told them specifically, look, man, I'm not grabbing my license or my registration because I do have my CHL. My gun is in this car. I'll tell you exactly where it is, but I am asking voluntarily to get out of the car, and I'll let you search it. And he let me get out of the car. He searched me first, obviously. And his whole thing was I was speeding. I don't think I was, but fuck it, I guess I was. I wasn't. And when he did that, I was like, okay, well, great. You see where everything is. We're good to go. He's like, all right, sir. Well, you have a nice day. Okay, thank you. Keep it moving. That kind of shit, right? But even still, I was so petrified. My fat ass gonna sweat when it's hot. It was like it was in the wintertime. It was cool outside. It was like 50 degrees outside. I was sweating like a fucking Hebrew slave because I just knew this motherfucker was finna turn around and cap me in my goddamn head. But fortunately, I made it out of that situation. But that's just too much pressure for nothing, right? It's too much pressure for nothing.
And that's my whole point. Like why when we get in for traffic violations that are we're tense, our heart is racing, things of that nature where
nigga I can die from a red light.
Yeah, it looks like because I can kind of get I know I can't get, but there's it looks like if I'm sweating and he's kind of nervous and you're kind of stiff, that kind of gives off the wrong signal. But I'm stiff just because I've seen this go the wrong way so many times in my life. Even with us, we've had situations where like these cops have jammed us up for no fucking reason. So I'm gonna be stiff because I know if I make any type of movement or anything like that, this shit can go sideways and I'm on the ground. He got a gun to my head and it's like, what the fuck? I thought you just pulled me over for going 55 and a 45 type shit.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So, I mean, look, the police, to a certain extent, bring it on themselves. I understand how anxious you could feel from their perspective going up to a strange car. You don't know what's in it. You don't know who's in it. You don't know what their intentions are. But by and large, statistically, if you look at it, most of the time they're not in any danger on a traffic stop. Now they, sometimes they are, but most of the times they are not. And when I say they bring it on themselves to a certain extent, I mean because they are so, like, we have one of the most active police forces in this country. Like, in other countries, they don't necessarily go out looking for every little bitty thing. If something like a legit crime happens in front of their eyes, of course they're gonna pop in, right? Mm-hmm. But if you're just moving around, they're not strolling around like looking for somebody doing something, right? Specifically, like our police department is one of the main ones that does. I'm sure it happens other places, but we're kind of worst at it. Where they go out looking for so much stuff, meaning you're stopping so many more people, raising the probability that one of these motherfuckers are gonna be crazy and try to pull a gun on you or some shit like that. So I mean, maybe if the person, I don't know, if they're like a suspect or some shit like that, I could definitely see being on edge. Like, okay, I'm pulling over somebody who's wanted for fucking
bank robbery or some shit.
Bank robbery, or assault or some crazy shit, murder. Okay, I get that, because this person's already willing to cross the line. But with regular people, there's no reason to really be taking it in that direction,
right?
That they take it. And so, like, I think they should stop pulling people over for traffic stuff as much, like highway traps and all that kind of stuff. Like, why?
It's stupid. That shit's dumb.
Yeah, it's like, why are we paying people like? And you go through all this training and all this other kind of stuff so that you can hide behind a tree on the side of the highway and wait for somebody to go a few miles over. Now, I'm not saying you can't pull people over if they're driving reckless. I think that's what you should pull people over with, because you can drive fast but not be reckless, right? Mm-hmm. Now, there's a certain speed where it's reckless. Right?
I do that shit all the time.
Yeah. There's a certain speed where it's reckless. If you're going 120, all right, that's reckless because other people don't have enough time to adjust to you. But if you're going 85 and a 70, lots of people are good enough where they can go 85 and a 70, and it's not like, and you might be moving with traffic, So yeah, if I'm a cop and I'm sitting in traffic You know, I'm on 75, and we know what happens on 75 at night with them fucking motorcycles.
Nigga, I hate them.
I'm sitting on 75, and somebody, all right, throw your lights on. Let's go get this dude. But
see, they're never out there, right? Because every night you got, this person died on this at 2:00 in the morning. What was the line? It? Y'all want to come get me because I'm going to work at 7:00 in the motherfucking morning? Bitch, I'm late. I'm driving fast.
All right, I was hiding behind the oak tree on the other street.
Yeah, man.
All me, like, dog, you pull me over going to work. Because you know when the speed traps are gonna be. They're gonna be early in the morning, like you said, like 7:00. They're gonna be right there around 12, around lunch.
2:30.
They're gonna
you gotta go rush to go get your kid.
Got rush to go get, or you rushing to go getting something to eat because you might be going, or to work, something like that. Like, God, if I'm doing this at this time of day, for the most part, I'm going to work or I'm at work. I'm trying to get back to work because I was on break. But your ass want to pull me over for going fast because I'm late. Like, but we're humans. Like, see the decency. Like I've been saying, common sense ain't too common. Like, dog, these things, but they take advantage of the situation, and that's where it boils down to. It's like they're taking advantage of. They know you're in a rush trying to get to work or trying to get your kids after school and shit like that. Take advantage of that shit.
They use that shit to make money.
We're apprehensive.
Of course.
You fucking up my time schedule, dog. Now it's 30, 45 minutes. My kid is standing outside wondering where the fuck I'm at. Or my bosses are hitting me up. Or why you late again? If you're late again, you're fired. Now I can't pay this fucking ticket. Now I lost my job and I got a warrant. Like, dog, you're in the shit off of just, man, hey, just keep it going, be safe and blah, 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 and just keep it moving. Like, dog, if I'm moving, like you said, if I'm going with the flow of traffic, what the fuck are you fucking with me for?
Yeah. So, but I mean, this brings up a whole different thing. I'm not going to be long with this, but
yeah.
No, but I'm just saying, like, when you look at like traffic, first of all, you shouldn't be using that as revenue, which a lot of police departments do.
They do
as a way to make a little extra money.
I don't have a choice,
and so that one should be outlawed. Like, you can't, I'm not saying you can't have citations, but that you can't have no quotas, and you can't be trying to use that to make money on something else. Like, that money should go somewhere else. It should not go to the police department, right? So that they don't have a dog in that fight. Like, if we give out 1 million tickets or 1 ticket, we get the same amount of money. That should be their relationship to citations. Second, citations are way too fucking expensive. Like, why are they $250, $300 for a traffic ticket? Like, the most a ticket should be is like $50. Something that people can pay.
Them $75 ass light tickets.
Well, but I always think about the people who don't have a lot of money. And so they get $250 ticket. Of course, they're not going to pay it because that means they're not going to pay something else. And so now they get a warrant, and it's a cycle. Now you got them in the cycle, and now you have a reason to fuck with them.
Yeah, because I got a $250 ticket for my license plate light being out. Yeah, $250 for my license plate light being out. And we all know license plates are reflective, right? So when any type of light hits them, they're going to shine. $250.
Shit, some cars don't even have a license plate light. Like some of the
I'm finna look tonight. I'm finna look tonight on mine because apparently you need one.
I don't know if I have, but I know there's older cars that people still drive that don't have them.
He ain't got no older car.
I know, but I'm saying, to give out a ticket that expensive for that when everybody doesn't even have a light. Period. Like,
you should have said Tom Tucker upside down face when he hit me with that shit. Nigga, what the fuck?
God damn. Well, there you have it, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah, go ahead.
Go ahead. Finish that.
Yeah, because it was one of those. And he rolled up on me just like the motherfucking example I was talking about. Nigga, and the thing was, I knew I wasn't speeding. It was coming from straight Meddlin. I was coming from the house. I was coming from your house. He pulled me. I was like, Doc, I'm going 45. The speed limit 45. It's like, he told me, yeah, your license. He's like, your license light is out. I was like, sir, how the hell? I was like, how am I going to see that?
This is true. This is true. Like, how are you going to see your own license
come on,
plate as a driver?
Yeah, you better just follow me. Wait till I get to a stop sign and be like, hey, your license light out, dog. Just go get that whole fixed tomorrow. Appreciate that, my nigga. I'm gonna keep it rolling.
Because that's exactly what I did. Because I was like, I don't need my wife getting pulled over in the car, and that be the reason. I said, I went right to AutoZone and fix that shit. It took me 5 minutes. But it's like $250 for a $7 light at the store. And this shit gotta stop.
Nah, I mean that's some shit I don't know that you handle with the brake tags or whatever y'all call them out here, inspection stickers.
That's man. Exactly.
I mean, that's not a police matter. That's what I'm talking about.
That's not a police matter.
But hey, LP, can we do like 5 minutes on the NBA?
Dude, okay, so the NBA, I didn't want to do this. I was going to send y'all a message earlier because it's July 31st. I ain't even started practicing yet. Hell, Kristaps Porzingis is still in fucking Lithuania or wherever the fuck he's at. But go ahead. Yeah, go ahead.
He plays for your team. You should know this.
Man, I don't know what the fuck that nigga from. Fuck him. When he suit up, goddamn it, I know he here.
Are the Mavs even in the thing? I know all the teams ain't coming.
Okay, first of all, fuck you. Yes, we are. and your bet is still on, and you owe a bottle at this point.
Hey man, look. Man. Pell's about to make this. Mavs miss it, and I'm good.
No, Pell's ain't about to make shit. We're already in. Y'all have to play in. We don't have to.
Are y'all in?
Yeah, we're at the 5th seed, dog.
Yeah, they're in. Yeah, you can Google that one real quick.
Man, they were losing when the season ended too, man. I had hoped that y'all was gonna come back. Pieces of shit.
Y'all were 10 games below us, I believe, whenever the season stopped.
Mathematically, so no, it says the Mavericks.
They were like 6 or 7, 6.
We were 9 games behind, 9 games back from the Mavericks.
Oops.
Hey, look. That's doable. That's a bad week for y'all. If we go 7-0, y'all go.
It's only 8 games to play. That's why I sent you the message the other day. There's only 8 games to play in for the whatchamacallit. So no, you're fucked. You're done.
I don't know, man. Maybe COVID killed this bet.
No, it didn't. When they started that season back, that was a wrap. Like, hey, I would have let you slide. I would have let you slide had the season went on to like next year. Nah, Doug, it's a wrap.
Yeah, well,
it's gonna be real AA style when these niggas get back to hooping.
That's gonna be very weird, man. Like to take whatever. I mean, they're
gonna be hooping
because they've got a nice little run up. They got about damn near 2 months almost to get ready, so they'll be straight. But it's gonna be weird because you know how basketball teams are. They were streaky, like they kind of start playing a certain way. And one of the things I'm concerned about, and I haven't heard too many people talking, but I also want to listen to a lot of people. But there's a high probability of a weird champion this year. Meaning like somebody that we never would have thought of, because not only could a team get hot, one of them streaks that, like, say the Nuggets. The Nuggets always have a streak where they win like 20 straight games. But we all know, it
ain't gonna be them.
The Nuggets. But during that 20 games, nobody's fucking with them.
They're beating there. Yeah, they're beating everybody ass.
There's another one who does this every season. Like every season, they got a 17-game win streak. Well, but we all know what's gonna happen when they get to the playoffs. But like, what if somebody gets on one of them streaks during this little shortened season playoff thing?
It's kind of like when the Knicks made it to the finals back in the day. What is that, 99? When the Spurs beat when they got their first one. But the Nuggets, but the Knicks, they were 8 seed. Nobody saw them going to the finals.
Yeah, But this has
Charlie Ward, Allen Houston, Latrell, what the hell, Spreewell, motherfucking Marcus Camby. Them niggas was gone.
But I'm looking at stuff like say you're in a first or second round series. Say the Clippers are in a first round series with the Blazers or some shit like that, right? Or I don't know who's in that spot. The Mavs, whoever's in that spot.
We're not in that spot.
Let me see. I'll just tell you so I don't have to offend anybody. It is the Mavs in the 7th spot, idiot. So they're playing the Mavs, right? Normally, you would think, all right, Mavs put up a fight, but they'll lose to the Clippers.
Changes everything.
But think about this. Think about it this way. You play the first, say you steal one in LA, right? Because the Clippers, they only play every other game. So say you steal one in LA, you come back to Dallas. Usually in almost every series, unless a team is real trash, they're gonna get.
And Mark Cuban has been real Black Lives Matter, so we do it there.
So you usually, if you're a decent team, you'll get one at home, right? Even against a real good opponent. So now you up 2-1, and Kawhi Leonard is now out with COVID-19. Not only that, Montrezl Harrell went to dinner with him that night. So now he got to go in the. And so that's what I'm talking about. That's what I'm talking about. The whole playoffs, you're gonna have this thing hanging over you where at any moment, 2, 3, it ain't even gotta be stars. Like it could be 3 role players who actually play minutes, that a team can't really live without.
Like if Giannis gets COVID-19, nigga, their season is done.
Yeah.
So what you're trying to say is the Orlando Magic finna come in his home win this bitch.
I'm saying this is the anything's possible playoffs. That's what I'm calling it. This is the anything's possible playoffs.
But we felt like that before the season, but we just had a lot of teams that we had a real shot. Now it's basically whoever gets into the playoff. No, they have a legit shot.
Like I could see, like OKC is in the 5 spot. And they're scheduled to play Utah right now. All right, say they get past Utah,
they get
to the second round. They would be in the bracket with who? Because
it's 13 on the West and 9 on the East, so it's gonna be some.
Some moving around.
So you get into that second, and I'm talking about when they get into the real playoff. But you get into that second round against the Clippers or against the Lakers or something, and like, say for the Lakers, I'm not even gonna go with LeBron and AD. Say just like I said, 3 of their role players, and the Lakers are pretty thin. So 3 of their role players get COVID on some bullshit. Now they're undermanned, and all of a sudden the Thunder fuck around and beat them. Like you could end up with the Thunder as a champion for no fucking reason at all. And everybody would know they're not really the best team, even in their own conference or division.
Doesn't matter.
But it doesn't matter.
That's why I said this was going to be real.
40 million. Chris Paul, 40 million, baby. It was worth it, baby.
But my point. Here's my point, though. Here's my point, because I hook our listeners up with winners, right? I did it all last season. I hook them up with winners. This is the season if you're going to take a shot on a long shot to win a championship. Because in the NBA, there's really no reason to bet outside the 1-2 seed. Just don't do it. In the playoffs, I mean. Right now, I'm looking at Houston. I'm saying, okay, I don't know what their odds are, but they're in the 6th spot, so it's not going to be good. I'm looking at them. I'm looking at the Raptors, the Celtics.
Probably 1 to 15, some shit like that. So you put some money down. You put like $1,000 back. You can get 15 grand on some shit like that.
Hey, look, we got a month and some change. We got over a month. What, July 31st when the season gets started?
July 31st.
Locking that between now and then.
So right here.
And people, COVID hasn't went away, people.
Boston Celtics plus 1,600, Toronto Raptors plus 2,000. Like somebody's gonna make some money gambling this year, and it's gonna be me.
Somewhere, right? You're right.
Oh yeah. Especially when they said this shit back on, you already know that money started shifting.
Yeah. So I'm gonna put a couple of bets. I'm not betting on no top teams, whatever. I'm not interested. I did that one year. I bet on the Warriors. I was in Vegas, and so I was like, "Oh fuck, I'm here. Let me bet on the Warriors to win." I won like $10. Like whatever. Like you're not gonna. They were the favorites, so you're not gonna win nothing. But
at all.
Yeah, and so I'm gonna put together a list of winners. So y'all just stay tuned for that. And
July 31st is when the season kick back. The re-season kicks back off.
I'm just looking at, and I want to make the bets before anything starts, because once shit starts, who knows? Everything's gonna go to fucking hell in the handbasket.
Right. So, by July 30th, we're gonna know exactly what's going on, like all the bullshit. Remember when I told you my sources said June 21st?
No shit. The day before, we'll know by July 30th. The day before the season.
Exactly. Shit.
There's a 0% chance that they get out of there, that somebody don't leave the property or some shit, because 20-something-year-old dudes,
millionaires.
No, they're away from home in Florida.
Millionaires.
No, they're gonna hear about some party. They're gonna be like, "Hey, man, look,
we got an NBA quarantine party going on up over here."
The chick who worked for Disney, she said she can get us out the back gate. I told her, I gave her $100. I said, just meet us back here at 2:30 a.m. We're gonna come back in. Nobody's gonna know we were gone.
And she got some fire pussy. Mm-hmm. There you have it, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages. Episode 145.
145.
Back in the building.
Almost went 145.
Side note, black people, arm yourselves. Have a gun. It's your right.
Welcome, Simon. Welcome, Jamile.
Oh yeah, I had to go get.
You've been here. You've been here for a while. Yeah. You've been here for a while.
I just don't pull it out every 5. Ooh, what you gonna do now? Ooh.
You ain't seen the other one yet.
I don't understand how you just keep it out like that.
Because I'm a paranoid schizophrenic with narcissistic rage.
My gun only moves if I take it to go to the gun range or I'm cleaning it or some shit. That's it. There's no like, it's just on the table in here, and then I put it on the counter, and then I'm gonna put it on the shelf over here. Then I'm gonna have it in my waistband. I mean, that's how you become plexical burst.
But you can do that.
You can do it. That's your right.
That's all I'm saying.
No. But yeah. So there we go. Good seeing you guys. You guys, hold on.
Yeah.
We're gonna end this broadcast real quick. And but thank you for watching, everybody.
Thank y'all.
It, love it, share it. All
glad
of the above,
we're back.
This, all that shit. Yeah.